Today I am going to show you how to do wool applique using freezer paper. These are the items that you will need to get started. A regular box of freezer paper that you buy in the grocery store, a stapler. This stapler is a little bit longer, but you can use any stapler that you have. A good sharp pair of scissors. These are Karen K. Buckley scissors for cutting the wool. A pair of regular household scissors for cutting the freezer paper. A good sharp number 2 pencil. Wool that has already been felted, wool thread. I am using Sue Spargo thread in matching colors to the wool that you want to applique. And I am using number 10 straw needles right here for the applique and a pattern to trace from. For the first step, you're going to need your pattern, your freezer paper, and a number 2 pencil. You're going to use the dull side of your pattern or your freezer paper to trace your pattern onto and trace all of your pieces. Some patterns come with the pieces separated, and some of them you would have to use the original drawing like this. So this pattern has everything separated. So you're going to trace all of the pattern pieces right onto the dull side of the freezer paper using a number 2 pencil. For this step, you can work on a light box, or you can also work on a window if you need to be able to see the drawing better. I traced all of the pieces at once, so you're just going to continue tracing everything. If it's a large quilt, I usually work 1 block at a time. Then once you have all of the pieces traced, you're going to use your regular household scissors and you're going to cut the item out right on the line. You're going to continue on to cut all of the pieces out. Once you have everything cut out, you're going to take your piece of wool and you're going to put the freezer paper with the shiny side down. You're going to iron for about 10 seconds using no steam and continuing to move the iron so you don't burn your wool. Once you have that ironed, you can kind of see if you pick at the edge a tiny bit, it sticks really well. That means it is ready for you to cut. You're going to cut right at the edge of the template. Carefully cutting all the way around. Once you have your piece cut out, you can go ahead and remove your freezer paper. And you're going to take your background piece, place this where you would like it, and take your stapler and put a few staples in. You're going to want to keep your staples at least 1/4 inch from the outside so that you have room to stitch. And you're going to want to put several staples in to make sure that it's not going to move while you're stitching. Now, if I were going to be doing this entire piece, I would cut all of the pieces out and lay them all out before I stapled it. Then I'm going to take my matching thread. I am going to cut it using the size 10 straw needle. I am going to thread it. I tie a knot in the end of all of my thread, so I'll always tie a couple knots. And then I am going to do a whip stitch around the outside of my project. So I'm going to bring it in on the applique piece, bring it up from the back, do a line parallel to the outside, and come down at a 45-degree angle back into the applique piece. And you're just going to continue to do that all the way around the shape. Once you have gone all the way around the shape, you're just going to remove your staples and you are either done with the project or ready to add embellishment. And that's it. So I'm going to, this is the back, you can see the thread coming through. And I'm just going to continue to do a couple more stitches past the staple. You can either use a staple remover, or I sometimes just use my fingers to bend the staple and take it out. You want to make sure that the wool is felted so that you don't have to worry about the edges fraying. You can see I have a nice clean edge here. If your wool is not felted, or if it's not 100% wool, that's when you usually see the edges fraying. So then I just take the staple and pull it out. If you have the staples in for like several weeks in between, if you have to set the project aside, sometimes you'll have a little bit of a line there. It will come back out usually overnight.